So if you remember at the end of last Vectorworks lesson / video, we had put areas on, okay? And the areas are not actually terribly important anymore because what's important is that we got our focus point at the center of the areas, okay? I often do my areas on their own separate class so I can turn that off, but I did not do that this time. So I'm going to actually just go through and I'm going to delete them because I know that if my lighting instruments get about halfway to my next area or my next focus point, I'm going to have good coverage. And I can check that and we'll look at checking all that today. The other thing I want to remind you is that your Vectorworks assignment 3, which is due next class, okay, is what's called a rough light plot. What I need to see on that rough light plot is your focus points and at least one light. Huh?
Prepared for a single light, Chris.
I know. Okay. I recommend having more, but having at least one light on a lighting position is important, okay? So first step, obviously, we showed last time, you're going to lay out your areas. Then you're going to put your focus points in, okay? That's on the previous video. I'm not going to show that again, okay? But here we are. This is a good starting point. We've got our areas laid out. I can see them, okay? Our first step before we start putting in lights, though, is to set up our label legend manager. Now, I do want to be honest. If you don't do this first, the world's not over. You can go back and do this later, but I think it's easier to do first, okay? I'm going to Label Legend Manager, okay? And I'm going to create a new one. We're going to add. Name this something that you can remember. I'm going to call mine Chris. Seems like a good name. I can spell it, okay? And what we want to do is we want to select what items are going to appear around our lights, okay? And there's this whole list here. Your book has some suggestions. At the very least, we need to have its unit number, its instrument number, okay? Some other things that we might want to include are channel, color, and I'm going to go ahead and include focus, okay? Your author is not as big on focus. I am because I just think it is just hugely helpful. Focus, okay? But there are all these things I can choose from, and you just put a check mark next to anything that you want to use. Okay? I'm going to click OK. And I'm going to pop over here for one moment to my resource browser. We looked at our resource browser last time. And I'm going to double-click a light. It doesn't matter what light I'm double-clicking. It's just going to make things a little bit easier for the next step. It's just so I have a light down here. I just selected the source for 70 degree. Again, doesn't matter which light, but a light. Okay. Okay, I'm going to go back here to Label Legend Manager again. Okay. And now I've got one called Chris. Okay. I'm going to edit the layout. And here's what happens. Here's Legend Chris. Woohoo, I'm a legend. Okay. I have here the list of all the information I said I was going to include, and I have a sample light. What I need to do is now drag this information to where I want it to appear. Okay, I'm going to drag my color to the nose because that's where the color goes on a light. I'm going to put the unit number in the belly of the light. What are we laughing at?
That's where it goes.
Well, yeah. You can set this up however you want. There are a million ways to do this.
Really?
I put the channel at the back end of the light, and then I put the focus above the color because the front end's pointing at the focus. Okay? I can adjust other things in here. So I can zoom in on this and say, yeah, I like this, but I think the channel is really important. I would like it to be in bold. Okay? And I can adjust all this in my object info. Okay? Color's fine. Focus, that's not super important. I'm going to take it from a 6-point font to a 4-point font. Okay? Whatever. You can also change the font. Here it says the font. You can drop down. Obviously, the font has to be installed on your computer. Draft Punk Skinny is my favorite font, and I paid for it, so it's not going to appear on your stuff. That's okay. Pick a font, any font you like, okay? It should be something that's easy to read, okay? Unit number, I might say, because 6s and 9s sometimes get confusing, so I want to underline my unit number. Whatever you want, okay? You're just doing this layout. Here's the cool thing. If you change the layout later, it will update all the lighting instruments that use layout legend Chris or Hat or Richie, whatever you name yours. Okay? Okay, once I'm done, you notice we've got an orange box around here. That means we're in a special part of Vectorworks. We learned that before, so I have an exit symbol over here, so I'm going to exit that. Okay, not much has changed. Okay, we need to go back into Label Legend Manager one more time. The last thing we need to do is over here, it's hard to see, it says active. If I put a check mark next to the active, that means it's going to automatically assign that label legend to any light I put in. That way, I don't have to go back and do it later. If you don't do this first, you got to go back to every light and you have to tell it what label legend to use. It's not that hard. Okay, but you can do it right here by clicking active, and now it's going to put that on every light we draw. Okay, so let's draw a light. Okay, yes.
So can you show again how you actually got to where the lights were at?
Sure. Window, palette, and it's called Resource Browser. Mine already has a check mark next to it because it's opened. Okay, and then once you're in the Resource Browser, there may be, I don't know how many different drop-down menus, but you want to go to Irma Vep because your lights are preloaded into the Irma Vep folder for you, okay? The folders that are down here are something that someone set for your Vectorworks. Irma Vep is actually the file you're working on, okay? So they're there for you, okay? So we're going to start and we're going to look at area L. Area L is where I'm going to start, and I'm going to do a layout for where I want my lights to be, okay? To do that, I'm going to create a new class, okay? So we're going to go to our navigation window. I'm going to create a new class, and I'm going to call it, what do I want to call it? Layout guide, okay? Okay. I'm now going to put a check mark next to layout guide so that I'm drawing on the layout guide, okay? And we're going to work on area L. I'm just going to draw a little circle so I can remember that's the one I'm working on. Okay, and I'm going to go to my attributes and make that clear. Window palettes. Oh, attributes is available, I just don't see it. Window palettes. Attributes. If you close a window and bring it back up, it always shows up on top. Okay, and I'm going to make that fill with none so I can see, there it is, it's open. Okay, I'm now going to draw some lines. I'm going to look very carefully at my schematic diagram, and I'm going to say, okay, this needs to have a backlight. My schematic diagram has a single backlight that comes from behind it. I can kind of make a guess at the angle, and I'm going to say it comes from straight back, and it's going to be about 7 feet away. So tab 7 feet. Okay? And the other thing I'm going to change is I got my attributes open just so I can be really clear that what I'm working on, I'm going to make it bright purple. Okay? And I'm going to have front lights. I want those front lights at a pretty shallow angle. I'm going to zoom out a little bit here. And they're going to come from, I'm not sure, but maybe, I don't know, maybe 20 feet away at kind of 30 degrees. Okay? And is all of this changeable? Yes. We're making a little guess, okay? And I'm going to also make that purple so I can find it. And same thing, 30 degrees in the other direction for my other front light. Okay, so about 20 feet. And 30 degrees. Put that in there. Again, I'm going to make it purple just so I can see it. And those are my 3 directions that I have lights from on my schematic diagram. You might have more lights on your schematic diagram. Your directions might be different. That's fine. This is just my little example, okay? Okay, I'm going to come in here, I'm going to use my selection tool, which is X, or click on the arrow, and I'm going to click on that circle I just created and my 3 lines as a guide, and I'm going to group them. Okay, modify group. Okay, I now have this group of things which I can move around, and so I can say, okay, these are where I want my lights to come from, but I want to start with area A because I don't like starting with area L. I want to start with area A. Drag that whole thing over here. I'm going to try to get this lined up. Okay, that looks like it's lined up pretty well. Yes? My circle A is pretty much centered in my circle. Okay, so I have figured out this is roughly where I want my lights to be. So now I'm going to start placing my lights. Okay, I'm going to go back to class. I'm going to click on instruments so that all my lighting instruments appear on the instrument class, and they're on the lighting layer. Excellent, excellent. Okay, so let's take a look here and say, okay, following this, I want to place my first front light right here. Do I have a lighting position right here? No. I have 2 choices. I could be a little closer than I want, which is going to be a slightly steeper angle, and I could place it here, or I can be at a slightly shallower angle and place it back here. What do you guys want to do? You guys are saying steeper. Okie dokie. That's fine. There's not a right answer. This is where we start instantly doing a little bit of compromise with our light plot. That's okay. So you guys are saying steeper. Let's go steeper. I don't know what kind of light I want. Let's try, I have the 50 degree symbol selected. Let's try a 50 degree. Okay, I am going to go to Tool Sets, Windows Palettes, Tool Sets if it's not up. Click on the one that looks like a light. If the Spotlight one isn't there, go to Tools, Workspaces, and select Tools, Workspaces, select Spotlight. Okay, go to Spotlight, click the Insert Instrument tool, which is the one that looks like an instrument with an arrow next to it. Come on, show it. And instrument insertion tool. So we said steeper. So I'm going to look, this is still the angle I want, so I'm going to actually put it right here where the line crosses my lighting position. I click once, that places the light. Second time I can set the angle. Remember, I want these all kind of straight, or straight to the right, straight to the left, or straight backwards. In this case, straight front is closest to the direction it's really going to go. I click that. Okay, I come over to my object info, and I'm going to fill in some information about this light. Okay, it is a front light. Whoops, spell front correctly. Front. Unit number. Don't worry about unit numbers. Vectorworks will put the unit numbers in for you. I'll show you how in a few moments. Color. If you know already what color it's going to be, G103 or whatever, you can fill it in. You probably don't, though, because our color choices aren't due till after spring break. So what I'm going to call this is, well, this is my chandelier light. Okay. So I'm just going to call it Shand because that's short and sweet. Okay. And I can come back later and update that. Okay. Channel number, I look at my rough hookup and what channel number is this? Well, it's front light for area A, so that's going to be channel 1. Okay. Okay, we're going to come down here. A lot of things. Is it going to have a gobo in it? We can fill that in. If there's no gobo, we can just leave it blank. Okay. And come down all the way to the bottom. It says use legend, Chris. We wanted to use the Chris label legend, right, because we created it. And the last thing is focus. Okay. So this is for focus point A. So I'm going to put a letter A in here. Okay. Once I put A in here, I can now have the option of drawing the beam. So I'm going to look at the beam. I'm going to look at this beam. I'm going to say, oh, that light, is that a good choice for there? That looks like that beam's a little bit too big, doesn't it? Yeah. Well, let me try something a little bit smaller. Okay. I'm going to just come over here. So that was a 50 degree. Let me try a 36 degree. I'm going to double click on the 36 degree. And I'm going to come back over to my object info where it says replace with active symbol. I have just made a 36 degree. Not bad. Why are you look a little funky. What's wrong here? Ah!
You're not showing the areas.
I'm not showing the areas. That's fine. But I'm also at 0 feet off the floor. I'm not on the pipe. Oh, that's why this looks funky. Okay, not a problem. Let's go ahead and put this on the pipe. I'm going to just drag it over here. Up. Now it says it's on the second AP. So what happens is it just happened to have snapped to that line in my group. Okay, it's fine. Not a big deal. I bring it back over here. It's still on the second AP. This looks good, although this is still probably a little bit bigger than I need because look, it's actually got area B and almost area E in it. Let's just see what a 26 degree would look like. That might be too small, okay? I don't know. We're going to try. Okay. Come down here, replace with active symbol. 26 degree. Oh my gosh, look at this. This looks pretty good, doesn't it? Okay. I'm about 12 feet across here. We want 10 to 12 feet for our areas. I could try a 19. Let's see what a 19 does. Okay, replace with active symbol. That 19 is a little small, isn't it? That's about 8 feet across. Yeah, it's probably a little small. So we're going to go back to our 26 degree. Okay, and replace with active symbol. Good. I have just figured out that front light. Okay. I've got another front light to do from over here. Do we want this one? I'm going to draw the beam off because eventually this will get very crowded. Do we want to do this one also a little closer? Or we maybe want to do this one a little shallower so we're at a different angle. Let's do shallower. Okie dokie. So I just did a 26 degree. I don't know if that's going to be a good choice or not, but hey, it's my active symbol, so we'll try it. Okay, go to Tool Sets, select Insert Instrument Insertion Tool. So I'm going to come here. I'm going to have to kind of guess because my line doesn't come back this far, but yeah, that looks about lined up. Yeah, that way a little bit. James. There, we like that. Okay, I'm going to put it in here. Okay, I'm going to get it set up so it's pointing nice and straight. I'm going to come over to my object info. Going to double check. Yes, I'm on the third AP. Good, it attached this time. Purpose. This is front light 2. Front 2. Oops. Front 2. Color. Well, this is the reflection from the chandelier, so I'm just going to call it reflection. I can fill in a color later. Channel number. Okay, well, I have, I don't know, what, 15 areas. So I want to call this, I know this confuses Caleb, but that's okay. It's okay. Your method would confuse me. So channel 1, so I'm going to make this one channel 21. Okay, so I'm going to call this channel 21. Okay, I'm not going to put a gobo in it, but I am going to say this is also focused at A. Notice I cannot click the draw beam yet, right? It's grayed out. Once I tab out of this, now I can click draw beam. It now knows where it's focused, okay? Draw beam. Oh, that's a little big, isn't it? That's okay. The 19 was just a little small before. Let's see if the 19 works. Not bad. Not bad. It's a little deeper than I would like, but I don't know. I think if I go to a 14, it's going to be too small. We can try it. 14 degree. Yeah, I think I'd be more comfortable with a 19 degree from here. Okay. 19 degree. Excellent. Okay. Backlight. Okay, our last thing we need is backlight for this area. Okay. Backlight right here. Do I have any lighting positions here? No. My closest one is all the way back here. Or I can try to put a backlight here, but that's on the first AP, but that's not going to really be backlight, is it? Okay, so we're going to be a little farther away than we like. You know what? I think I want to do my backlights with pars, mostly because I want to show you another instrument, not because, okay. So there are two flavors of pars. We have pars MFL, which is a medium flood, and par with a wide flood. I'm going to see maybe the medium flood. So I'm going to select that as my instrument. Come on. Select par 64 medium flood. Okay, again, I don't have a line there, but I can kind of, that looks like I'm about lined up. Okay, it's pointing that way. Okay, it's going to point at area A. And purpose is back. And color is moonlight. And channel, I'm going to call this channel 41, but again, you call it whatever channel you have on your hookup. Okay, all of that, and I'm going to draw the beam. Oh, well, now look at that. That looks pretty good. That looks like a pretty good light, okay? I'm going to go with that, okay? Except, you know, I don't know that I like the oval beam. Why don't I try a Fresnel? Fresnel will give me a round beam. And we've got some Fresnels in here. Let's try a 6-inch Fresnel. Replace with active symbol. Now, with Fresnels, remember our Fresnels, we can change the beam spread on them from narrow to wide. On a Fresnel, the small circle is the smallest it can be, and the big circle is the biggest it can be. So I can get anything in between there. I like the par better. Okay, I like the par better. Does that mean you like the par better? Not necessarily. You guys have to kind of decide what you're doing. Okay, so I do that. I've now done 3 lights. I've done all the lights for this area that were on my schematic diagram. I can now, I'm going to turn that beam off, and I can move my thing to my next area and go ahead and do all that again. Okay. The other thing I can do, I'm just going to move this like totally out of my way for the moment. Okay. Once I have figured out my first one, I can say, you know, my areas are about every 6 feet across. So I can zoom in on this to remind me that was a 26 degree. I'm going to select the 26 degree again. And I'm going to say, okay, they're about every 6 feet. Instrument insertion tool is active. Okay, I'm at about 16 feet there. So if I want to go about 6 feet, I want to go lined up with the 10 feet about here. Okay, and fill in all my information. It's front, and it's shand, and it's channel 2, and it's area B. And this one, I want to go about 10 feet more, so 6 minus 10, that's 4 feet, so I want to go to here. Okay, and don't worry that this stuff isn't lined up and neat and tidy yet. We'll make it all neat and tidy eventually. Okay. Purpose, front, color, shan, channel 3, area C, and I'm going to just do area D here for quick reference. So I'm at 4, so I'm going to be at 2, because 4, going 6 feet away, 2 feet, 4 feet, 6 feet, that one in here. And the way I actually usually do this, which is why there's fingerprints all over my monitors, is I take my fingers, I hold them the correct distance apart by measuring the areas, and then I move them along my screen that distance so I know where to place all my lights. Okay, I go ahead and put that one in. Purpose, front, color, shan, channel 4, area D. Okay, now I've got this wash in, okay? And I like to do this once I get kind of a bank of lights done. I want to check and see really how I think this is going to cover. So I'm going to select and hold down Shift while you're clicking. I've now got all 4 of these lights selected. And I'm going to go to Draw Beam. And now this is a little confusing to look at, okay, which is why I don't do this with like 100 lights on at a shot. But 4 of them I can kind of figure this out. And I look and I go, oh, look, I've got what looks like, you know, fairly even coverage along here. Okay. I can also go and move around in 3D and see how I think this is going to look, what angle this is going to be at. Move down a little bit and go, yeah, I think that's going to work. I'm going to kind of move around here. Yeah, that doesn't seem too bad. Okay. Now notice my lighting is being shown at the focus point, which is why we set the focus points at head height. Okay, because we want people's faces well lit, not necessarily their knees well lit, right? Okay, unless you're doing a tap dance show, and you might not care about the knees. Okay, look at that. Go, yeah, that's not bad. I like that. Okay, go back to my top view. Okay. I'm gonna go ahead and turn that off. The other thing I'm going to do is, because I have 3 lights from a single area, I'm going to grab all 3 of my lights from area A, do exactly the same thing, shift click them, and turn on their beam. Okay? And again, this is really helpful in 3D. And look at this, and then try to just imagine everything. And yes, it's a little hard to imagine. Okay, yeah, it makes your brain hurt a little bit. And go, yeah, no matter where I turn, an actor's going to have light on them, and they're going to be fully covered. Okay, and you can again come down, look at this from the top, go, yep, no matter which way they're facing, they're going to have light on them. I go, good, that's what I want. That's not what you want, that's not what your schematic diagrams say, obviously this will be a bad layout for you. Does that make sense? Although 3 areas, 3 directions. It's good to have light coming from 3 directions. Okay? So I've checked those. Okay? Now, really, now that I've figured out about where the front lights go and the back lights go, how long is it going to take me to put in all the rest of these lights? Not that long. Okay? Once I get done with my area lights for Mandicrest, then I have to do my area lights for Egypt. If they're different, if they're somewhat the same, then, you know. And then I get to go through and do my specials. Okay? Laying out your, you know, really, if you get 1 light on here for your rough light plot, you really can have 25 pretty easily. Does that make sense? Okay? So, what?
James has a question.
Oh, sorry, James.
I keep forgetting.
What's your question?
Would it work if can we turn them on and put them in render 3D?
Yes. So to turn them on,
Can you put a gel in it and light your color?
it will show color if you have a gel that it knows. And we'll get into if it doesn't have a gel it knows, I'll show you how to do that later, not today. Okay? But what I can do is if I right click on the lights, I can turn them on. I think it will turn all of the ones that are selected on. Okay? So now I'm going to go into our 3D view. Actually, I'm going to just do it in top view at the moment. I'm going to view, rendering, fast RenderWorks. Okay? So Shand is not a color it knows, obviously, because that's a color that's waiting to be described. Okay, I can see what that looks like. Okay, yeah, it's well lit there. Let's move into 3D space and take a look at this. Okay, now my set is all rendering kind of gray and see-through. That's because I turned my set to gray. Turn my set back on here. You can see it. Okay, so we get an idea. Look, my focus point is well lit. We can kind of see what that's going to look like. Okay. It is another way to check. At this point, don't worry too much about color. Worry about, you know, do you have even light? Do you have lighting that looks like you want? You can draw. You can find in under. I'm not going to put one in today, but under one of these, yes, there's a person tool, and you can put a human figure in, and you can look and see how your human figure is lit. I will tell you it's going to slow down your rendering. Human figures take forever to render. Okay, but go for it. Okay. So yeah, you can kind of get a look and go, oh, that's nice, or I don't think so. Okay. And you can get really fancy. You can adjust shutters and stuff in Vectorworks. I'm not showing you guys how to do that today. Okay. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to turn that off. Turn off. Okay. So those lights are now all turned off. Okay. Although you know what? Would not be a bad idea to show you our 4 front lights that we have. We'll turn all those on and just take a look at that. Turn on. And come up here to our view and view fast RenderWorks. And take a look at this. Zoom in a little bit. Okay. So what we see is it's a little dim right here. Okay. We might have to adjust something with that.
Would that be covered by the other lights on the second
And it could be covered by the next bank of lights, yeah. So, okay. But we're looking pretty good.
Can you add haze to see the effect of haze?
Yes, but I'm not going to show you that today. That you're way into another lesson. Okay? Sorry. I know you guys are antsy.
Whoa, what? You can actually turn the lights on? Like, no, I need color, I need some haze.
I know.
So
I know. You need all this stuff, and you're not going to get it today. Okay? Because you're going to focus on getting some rough lights in. Okay? Okay. So the next thing, so here are the 4 lights I put in. Remember I said they need instrument numbers, unit numbers, but there's no unit numbers here. Okay? What I'm going to do is I'm going to click on the lighting position. Okay? And I'm going to go into object info, and it says auto number. Well, it didn't number for me. Well, I'm going to turn auto number off and turn it back on. Look at that. My instrument numbers are there. Okay? And it says number from right to left. Now, Vectorworks does not understand stage right, stage left, upstage, downstage. When it says right to left, it means from the right on your screen to the left on your screen. Okay? Or from left to right, or top to bottom, or bottom to top. Here's what matters. It matters that all of your positions are numbered in the same manner. It does not matter what direction that is. Okay? Does that make sense? Yes, Caleb?
Can the channel number and the unit number be the same?
No. Well, they might end up being the same, but unit numbers are going to start fresh on every position. So this is unit 4 on the second AP. There will be a unit 4 on the first AP and the third AP. And I doubt they're going to work out in such a way that you want all your unit 1s to come on together at the same time. Huh? Okay. Yes, Hat.
Can you number them just by degree? Can you just give them a unit number by their degree of the lens?
No, unit numbers are specifically what order they are on the position.
Okay.
That's it. It is you start at one side of the position and you count. Okay, that is how unit numbers work, and that is one thing you're not allowed to change. Okay, because this is how you communicate with your electricians, and your electricians will not like you if they don't start at one side of the theater and count. Okay, that's how it works. Okay, and here's one of the cool things, and not that this is a good idea to do, but let's say I'm rearranging stuff because I have to put a special in, and I go, okay, I'm going to have to move channel 3 over here. Okay, its unit number is still 2. Okay, but we don't want that. Okay, again, click on the position, turn the auto numbering off and on, and now it's renumbered it correctly. Okay, and I'm going to go put it back where it belongs. Okay, and oops. Okay. And I want to show you there's another little trick. Spotlight, toggle auto numbering, turns it off for everywhere, and then turns it back on for everywhere. Okay, that's very nice. If you're in some of the newer versions of Vectorworks, I think it has refresh auto numbering as the new command, which turns off and on because they discovered no one ever wanted it really off. They were turning it off so they could turn it back on so it would renumber everything. Okay, you don't have to have your instrument numbers or number on for next class. Okay, but you should have a light with a channel. Okay, and you should be able to tell me where it's focused. Okay. Let's see what else I'm supposed to show you today. Placing instruments and photometrics. So we've already looked a little bit at the photometrics because we're looking at the light, and if it's about 10 feet across, it's bright enough. Okay. So yep, that's very good. Okay. And one of the things you will discover, I just want to show you, because we asked about if we can scoot a light a little bit. if I have to scoot this light 18 inches to accommodate a special, notice that that did not change a whole lot. That was a small change, okay? So that if you have to, your specials should be more important, okay? That light that Lauren had coming through the back door, coming through the French doors for that final moment, that light has to be perfectly placed. Everything else can be compromised a little bit, okay? Some of you talked about special lighting on the sarcophagus or special lighting on the painting. Those lights will take priority. In general, we don't want lights any closer together than 18 inches because if they're closer together than 18 inches, you run the risk of not being able to focus the light without the beam of light hitting the light next to it. Okay? So in general, no closer than every 18 inches or 1 foot 6 inches for those of you that are foot to inch comparison challenged. Okay? Vectorworks is not smart enough when it's drawing a beam to know that there are walls in the way. When you're rendering, if the walls are turned on, it will render them like that. So if you want a light coming through this door, when you draw your beam, it's just going to go through the door like whatever, like the wall's not there. But when you render it, well, actually the door will be closed in the rendering, so it will just not show up. You'll see the glowiness, if you have haze on, the glowiness behind it. Okay. I forget, different versions of Vectorworks treat windows differently. I don't remember how well this version treats light coming through the French windows at the back. It may or may not be successful. That's okay. Okay? Some of it you may just have to use your imagination. And I'm going to sound like the old codger here who says, in my day, we had to use our imagination for everything because we didn't have any computer rendering stuff. Computers weren't invented yet. Okay, that's a lie. Okay. I do recommend to you the more lights you have turned on when you try to run a rendering, the longer the rendering is going to take. Okay, so be patient. Okay, that's why I like to check kind of. Okay, I've got 4 lights. Let me just do a little quick check what they look like. Let me do a check what these lights look like, and then start to imagine them overlapping. Okay. What else do I need to show you? I should show you this. There is a certain inventory of lights that we own. Okay? That inventory is loaded into Vectorworks. Vectorworks will allow you to draw more lights than we own. Isn't that friendly of it? Okay? And that's okay. If you say, oh my gosh, I need one more 19 degree than we have, come to me and say, can I have one more 19 degree than we have in the inventory? And I will say, yes, you can rent a 19 degree. That's probably 25 bucks. Yeah, sure, fine, whatever. Okay. How do you check your inventory? You go to Spotlight, and you go to Reports, and you're going to say Generate Paperwork. Okay. And there's a whole lot of options. Look, Instrument Schedule, Channel Hookup. They're in here. Okay. But what you're going to really need to check here is your inventory. Okay. So you're just going to say Inventory and click OK. And it's going to bring up this inventory list. Don't change the number in inventory. The number in inventory is correct. Okay? Okay, click OK. And then come up to Window, Worksheets, and find Inventory Report. Okay, and here is a list. Let's zoom this in. Oh yeah, you guys can see that. Okay. So ETC source for 26 degrees. There are 55. We've used 4. There are 51 remaining. ETC source for 19 degrees. There are 10. We've used 1. There are 9 remaining. Okay? So we can look and we can see what we've got a lot left of. Okay? Again, when you're doing your first draft of your design, is this super important? No. Put in what you want. Okay? When you're all done and it says, I have used 88 more 19 degrees than we have in inventory, you can bet that renting 88 lights is probably not going to be allowed. So you might have to go through and think about something else. Okay? I like to check this like when I have like a page or 2 of my rough hookup done, take a look at this and see how I'm doing. And I go, oh yeah, I'm doing fine. Or, I'm running a little low on these. Maybe I need to drop Chris an email or think about if there's another way I can do something. Okay? But don't get too caught up in this yet. Yes, eventually you have to worry about it. Okay? What I will tell you is our inventory is very good for our theater. So if you're really running out of something, it means that probably you're doing things in a way that's not the way they're normally done in the theater. And come talk to me, because I may look at it and go, you know what? All those places you're using 19 degrees, a 26 degree will work just fine. And we have, we have 55, 26 degrees, and we only have 10, 19 degrees. So consider swapping those out. Okay? Yes, that is a compromise, but don't make compromises. You know, I don't want someone to sit here and go, oh my gosh, there's only 10, 19 degrees. I can't use the 19 degrees for anything. Well, that's silly. You've got 10 of them. Obviously, whoever bought these lights said, you know what, 10, 19 degrees, you probably need them. Okay? You know, these numbers were not randomly created. Okay? There was a lot of work that went into selecting the inventory. It's a pretty good inventory. Okay? Yeah. Any questions? I'm going to stop the recording.